Net gain, networking, encouragement, training, helping snow landscape and all small businesses hire, train, retain, and engage the best teams to build those win-win workplaces. Are you looking to thrive at work? Welcome to Net Gain. This is Networking Encouragement Training. I'm your host, Evan Tashwire from Jack of All People Trades. We exist to help snow landscape and all small businesses hire, train, and retain the best people. So right now on this episode of Net Gain Live, the podcast where you as the viewer can talk to the guests, we have both Harry Steldt and Aron Rodman from Extra Mile Snow here to talk Wolf Loaders as well as Wolf America. So Aron and Harry, if you want to reintroduce yourself to the audience real quick, go for it.
Sure. Hey, I'm Aron Rodman. With me is
my name's Harry.
Yeah. So we got our main operations for the last 25 years has been extra mile snow plowing. We run about 70 guys, about 30 loaders, and just ever increasing price of machines that we only put 150 hours a year on. Kind of forced us to start looking elsewhere on it. And we stumbled upon working with a manufacturer, creating our own line. And that's where we got that's where the Wolf America is coming from. We started running them in our own fleet and had people start asking if they could buy them from us. And from there, we decided to start up a dealership. And so kind of we're not your typical dealer because we've been on the buying end of equipment for our operations for the last 25 years. So we kind of know what triggers us, what ticks us off and is not straightforward about the process. And we try and make that not a hassle and be just real straightforward about stuff and get a very, very affordable machine in the hands of snow operators that's going to get the same work done for about half the price.
No, that's awesome. And, kind of to get started, we'll talk about how, Wolf Loaders Wolf America can help companies grow and scale. But kind of with that, from a people side, I'm always interested in that topic. How much of an advantage do you think that gives you with being that you have been operators and now you're on the equipment end? And how important is it for those who sell and manufacture equipment to have that collaborative relationship with their operators, with the companies they work with?
I definitely say it gives us an upper hand. And I would point out that we were operators and now we're a dealer. We are snow plowers. We are still out. We are running the machines we sell, but we're not just only running these. These are not I don't want to oversell this as a one size fits all or a be all end all. They are a way to supplement your fleet. I mean, we are still running some larger payloaders from the name brands you'd know of. But we're also running about 10 of these in our fleet as well to supplement. They do help with scale. I know you want to talk about scaling a bit later. It's more than just equipment. You can buy the right equipment, and it's not going to give you the best snow plowing operations or snow plowing company. It's got to be people. It's got to be backing. But as far as, I wouldn't be hesitant about buying a machine from someone who's never snow plowed before. Our sales guys for Caterpillar and Case that we work with, they weren't snow plowers by trade. In fact, a lot of them worked in the service department. I feel pretty blessed to have guys that when I call, they know what they're talking about because they used to work in the service department. But from how can this machine directly affect your operations, both operations and cost and profitability, that's where we really have a leg up. We can lead someone to, this is the right machine for you to help scale so you can get more work done with a less expensive machine, or not have to buy another huge machine. You can use one of these to kind of supplement a route for a lower cost, or a last minute job comes in, or you have something where you need a large amount of machines. You start talking 10, 20, 30 machines, and we're getting into the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're saving that company there. So I think where we really have a leg up is we can help our guys that purchase from us know where to place these in their fleet, know how to use them, and be a resource I mean, more often than not, when we sell these machines, it starts a relationship where we got guys calling us, "Hey, can you help me bid out this job?" Or, often we find I was just the other day talking to someone who was going to purchase this machine to put on one of his jobs, a Wolf America machine, and he was telling me what he's got, and I'm like, no, 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 this is the wrong. I think you're looking at this possibly a wrong way. What if you took your skid loaders that you have, put them on this job, and now you take your wheel loader, your Wolf America loader with a 12-foot pusher on it that goes 24 miles an hour, and you hit job A, B, C, and D with that instead of what you were doing, tying up a truck, a trailer, and a skid loader, hauling it from site to site. So that's, I think, where we get a big leg up too, is being able to uh, help people with business development as well.
Definitely. So it sounds like a lot of scaling advantages, whether it's, the cost to help you scale when you need those bigger machines or many bigger machines, and also the collaborative relationship, like you talked about earlier, of, hey, seeing what you already have on the board. And I think that's an important takeaway in general whenever you're buying equipment, because I think a common mistake companies make, and you can tell me your thoughts on this, is kind of almost with growing, just throw more at it, just throw more people at it, just throw more iron at it, just throw more dollars at it. And there's not the actual stop. Let's look at the whole board and see, can we do this job smarter? So, kind of thoughts on that.
I'll take that one. For me being the operations guy, that's definitely one of the big advantages for us being able to sell and use these loaders. Where a guy's going to normally just run a skid loader, it's kind of that same situation. There's jobs where skid loaders are good, but there's also jobs that, it's just, there's jobs where having a bigger pusher on it's going to make a lot more sense versus just running a skid loader. So from the operations standpoint, we do it year round. We constantly are looking at our routes, trying to figure out what should go here, what should go there. And realistically, the hardest part for us is finding the people. So when you can invest into, machines that are going to be able to make the jobs go faster, that's, at the end of the day, that's what our end goal is, to be able to invest in the proper equipment for the jobs and not have to necessarily find 5 or 10, 15 extra guys too.
Anything that can cut down on the people side, I'll co-sign that as a former recruiter in the industry, now someone who helps people find and train recruiters. Is no matter how good your process is or your software for that, finding people and finding enough good qualified people is always that challenge, and keeping them. So anything you can do to find that efficiency, definitely there. So kind of talking about, we hinted at growing and scaling, so kind of what should companies really be thinking about in order to scale well, to position themselves for growth, and all what kind of people?
Yeah, this is Aaron again. I'll take that one here. There's in the 25 years we've been doing this, there's sometimes we took a job just because it was one we wanted, only to find out it shouldn't have been one we wanted. And I want to, more important than is our equipment the right equipment to buy or not, I want to express to the listeners the difference between growth and the difference between scaling. And truthfully, the word scaling is thrown around so much. I had to do a little bit of research just to get it boiled down to more of a definition here. Growth is just plain growing. Let's say our company grows in profit. Well, let's say not profit, but we grow 20% this year. We take on 20% more jobs. But to do that, we then have to add 20% more employees, 20% more overhead, 20% more equipment. And in the end, profit-wise, we didn't really come out much more ahead at all, because everything, well, I'll use the wrong word, I guess, scaled equally. What we want is an unequal scaling. If I'm going to do 20% more work, I want to do 20% more work, but only add 5% more infrastructure to do it. If I'm going to do 20% like this winter, I want to do the same amount of plowing with 20% less man hours. Or you could look at it as, I want to do 20% more plowing, but only add 5% more man hours. And there's ways to do that. It's efficiency, it's equipment, it's the right costing the affordable equipment to use. But it gets deeper than, like, I would love to tell you the Wolf America product line is going to just revolutionize everything about someone's business, but it's only going to help streamline a portion of it, because there's other things that it doesn't fix, like route density. One of the biggest things that you need, is if you're doing commercial or residential, as well. Airports might be a totally different story, because you only got so many airports per city. But is route density. Don't be looking for more jobs. Be looking for more jobs that are right next door to where you already are. Like where we are, half the time our sidewalk crew doesn't even have to get in the truck to drive to the next job. It's just move over 50 feet or 100 yards and you're on the next job. That wheel loader is expensed to one job. We may have a larger job, a seasonal job, so that we've got money coming in year, regardless of whether we get snow, just to cover the cost of our machine. But that job pays for the machine. So now back to that scaling, making more money without increasing the infrastructure as substantially. I may plow the Walmart and just slightly more than break even on all our expenses on the Walmart. However, that payment from that store, for the most part, covers the bank I'm doing next door, the restaurant across the street, the other bank, and 4 businesses in the business park right behind it. And I'm using the same machine for all of those, just kind of balancing everyone's opening times and whatnot. And then also having density like that, we can afford to stick $40,000 into a high quality sidewalk machine, because now I don't need that all expensed just to one job. It can be spread over all those jobs that are in that really tight area, and I don't even need a truck and trailer to get that around. So scaling for us, that's how we look at it. Like, cram everything into a tighter density. That's like step one. Then step two is, what is the cost effective machines for us to do this with? We got contingency plans, so we've got some very large scale loaders that we're using, but then these like the mid-sized ones, like our Wolf America loaders, um, they're great. Guys who've been running a skid loader with us were thrilled when we moved them up to these. They went from a skid loader with an 8-foot pusher to this with a 13-foot Arctic. They were thrilled. They were running circles around what they used to do. We this year had 2 routes where, we might have bid off. I don't think we bid off more than what we could chew, but we took one of our best operators who was on that machine, moved him to a salting route, only to find out that guy was so good that it probably took us 2.5 to 3 operators to cover what he was doing. So to do that last minute, we grabbed one of our Wolf America machines from the dealership, threw it into the mix there, and now for a very low cost option, we were able to keep our customers happy, get stuff done a bit sooner, and not totally break the bank.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are all really good points. The two I heard as definite takeaways there is kind of like you said, that uneven scaling, I think, as you called it, basically making sure your dollars are scaling up faster, that your revenue and profits scaling up faster than your expenses and hours are. So really looking at right now, if you add up, what's your average, windshield time between jobs, what's your average, hours spent on the jobs, cost with, supplies, equipment, etc., and you have an average number there. If you're going to take that additional revenue, because I'll steal one from Jeff Heller, who I just recorded with recently. Revenue's vanity, profit is sanity. So it's like, oh, we got offered all these other locations. That's $200,000 more of revenue. But if you look at those numbers side by side, and it's actually costing you more windshield time to go all over the place, or more equipment per job now, you actually really didn't grow, as you said. So I think the important thing, like you said, is sitting down, running those numbers, knowing them, and then knowing what that's going to look like with that. And then, like you said, the density is definitely a big thing. So, quick takeaway is start with, anyone who's out there looking to scale for this coming year is, that we'll be releasing this here in May, later in May. You're looking into sales season, start looking right around if you're doing commercial, or like even if you're doing residential, who is right by that you're already operating on, who is in that area, who is it easy to get to. So yeah, Aaron, go ahead, pick up off that.
Yeah. So as you're doing that, I'd also like to add the opposite of that, which can also equate to scaling. Dumping a bad job also has the same effect. So this time of year, when it's fresh in our minds, we're going through our jobs right now from this winter, job costing, seeing what they cost us, looking at them, and finding at times, holy cow, this job just sucks our resources like crazy, really doesn't make us that much money. If we dumped this job, those resources could get put into these other jobs around it. Maybe we're not circling back to having time to get to a second or third clearing at a place that would have paid us a second or third time. And so now there's more profit available if we dump that one job, or more resources to go make money in some other places. And then we didn't even add a customer. We've had it many times. We've dumped some customers and become more profitable just by doing that. The other thing I wanted to point out too is when we're setting up our routes, we look at our machines, our loaders, our skid loaders. We do virtually no plowing with trucks. If you want to start growing the company, figure out how to not use a truck for plowing. That's huge. That's key. But a wheel loader, you would think, how much plowing can I do in 8 hours, 10 hours? I mean, you can plow all day with the thing. The problem is you really only got 4 hours. Seems like 9 times out of 10, our snowstorms are ending at a time when we cannot get out any earlier than 3:30 or 4 in the morning. I'd love to go out at midnight. However, the problem we've been having here in our area is the snow's not stopping till 9 in the morning or 6 in the morning. And when we go out at midnight, we need to do another full plowing by 4 or 5 in the morning. So when we head out at between 3 and 4 in the morning, my customers need to be done by 7:30, at least with the first plowing. So I have to look at all of our routing. Harry and I sit down, look at all our routing, and realistically, how much equipment do I need to get this done, at least the first time through on everything, in 4 hours? Because we're just fooling ourselves. If I set up 8-hour routes for all of our equipment, which, when I get to head out at 5 p.m. at midnight, no problem. But like I said, a large portion of the time, it's 3 o'clock in the morning when we're starting a final push or the first push. If it's a lighter storm, I got 4 hours to be 80%, 90% complete. So that's where we've used these lower cost wheel loaders to supplement as well. Like, I don't want to buy a $150,000, $200,000 wheel loader to put 80 hours a year on. These are killing it for us. Being able to, our cost is so little to add extras in the routes. The harder part is finding people. But there's things we do. I don't know if that's a topic for this one. We've talked about it in other ones too, but there's things we can do to recruit people. Hey, you've been sitting in a skid loader your whole life, hop into this wheel loader. It's way nicer. I know you've been posting a bit too about new, clean equipment is one of the key reasons. Well, other way around, old crappy equipment is one of the key reasons people leave where they were. And we like to make it appealing to work here, not just fun, but also appealing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, first of all, great point about the, dumping, not only getting the good work, but dumping the bad work. And one thing practically as a takeaway that you use is if you ever used mymaps.google.com, you can actually upload a spreadsheet there and it'll give you like a Google map or a map view where you can actually have pins of like all your sites. I've actually used it for recruiting operators. You can actually upload multiple layers or spreadsheets. So I would upload a layer of sites and then a layer of I'd actually do it by like how I ranked operators. So I do like A level, B level, C level and you can make these different colors. So I could see if my sights are black dot, little black pins, and then my, A operators are blue. I ideally want to have blue around all my black pins. So I would know like, okay, if I have a couple black pins over here in the East and there's nobody out here, that's where my recruiting efforts got to go. And I think same thing can happen with the sites too. If you even, you could even rank your sites too of like profitability, high, medium, low. And if you see on a map, all of a sudden, let's say your low is red, you got a low profitability over here kind of on an island by itself. That might be one that's telling you to cut versus if it's in the middle of stuff and it's like, well, they don't give you too much problem, maybe you can still do them. That might make a difference. But kind of to close today's conversation, you mentioned recruiting. I think recruiting is something I probably should do more episodes on. So if you ever do want to talk that, we definitely can focus. I'd want to focus on that because I feel like that's a whole seasonal employees is a whole beast in and of itself. But I think that should be shared. But like Wolf America, you kind of mentioned about its competitive advantage. What would you kind of leave listeners with? I heard so far about, if you're looking to supplement with a loader, maybe you're trying to, take on a property that would need a loader, but you haven't gone to that expense yet, or you're testing something out you want to see before you dump into a, full expense CAD case or something. What would you say? Where Wolf's competitive advantages lie?
So obviously the price point is the biggest thing for us, and we look at that as the main selling point of the machine, right? You're looking at about half the price of what a big name John Deere, CAT case, whatever that may be. So our big advantage in that is not only the price, but the reliability. We've been using them in our own fleet, so I can, confidently tell you like, hey, here's one, what it looks like after 100 hours. Here's one after 200 hours. And we're still just, piling hours on these things as fast as we can. And one thing that I talk to a lot of people, I would almost say more specifically out East, because from what I hear is there's years where they get 15 inches or there's years where they get 70 inches. And I would assume that, from the pocketbook standpoint, when you get 15 inches, you'd probably rather be having a loan in the 60,000s versus hundreds of thousands. So not only are you being able to do, more work with the machine, you're also saving yourself money at the end of the day as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're absolutely accurate because I live in Pittsburgh. So we're kind of one of those markets where maybe not as low snowfall. The ones that really are kind of really volatile is like the mid-Atlantic, the Virginia, Maryland, DC, Philly, Southern Jersey. But yeah, those are even us. We're kind of volatile here because we've had a couple down years, and then this year, of course, hit us, pretty well in the mouth. But yeah, that definitely that price point I can see being a big advantage. If you are in that low or volatile snowfall markets, also adding on. So just appreciate you guys being here. This has been Net Gain, Jack of all people trades. So this one we're recording as a Net Gain Live. So for those of y'all who aren't familiar with Net Gain Live, whenever you see it, what we do is we do a short little podcast discussion, which you'll hear this back on the podcast. But then if you do attend live, which we have someone in the room live, in addition to the guests, you actually get to talk to the guests. So this is always a great time. I see this as something I want to grow into as more, kind of fellowship time networking for the industry, because, events are great, but we can't always make events live. So this can be a great way to supplement conference season for those who can't go, or those who maybe can't send their whole team to get in on some of these discussions. And then too, just to build that rapport and bond and ask questions, of the people. So with that, I'm going to wrap up Net Gain Live itself and give us 1 second. We're going to be back with the networking.
Do we get to hear the song in between?
Weather, but you ain't gonna slip and fall with that. Why? Cause we snow fighters, we assaulting that. Get it, salting that. King me this salting round. Clown brokers, end of the road. This a cul-de-sac. Blackout with white glove service. That's the coldest facts. Sparks flying from the start. It's a Goldberg match.